Have you experimented with recording with two amps? A lot of times I've gone to the studio and I'll bring two different amps and they sound quite different. Maybe a really distorted amp and one that's a little bit like a Fender and like a Masco or something like that. Or a
Yeah.
Fender and a Supro and stick a mic on each and then one ambient. Have you experimented with that?
Yeah, I have mostly with Rick. The first record we did called Twisted.
Remember that one?
Yeah, we had we used a Harp King, and in a separate room we had a Tweed Deluxe with a reverb tank,
Yeah.
and we also did a bunch of stuff where we used the Champ and a 310 Bandmaster, a brown one. So we did a fair amount of that actually with Rick. I can't think of if I done it with anybody else. Oh no, there was this French guy, the guy who plays in Awek. Um, Remember that band?
I don't
Well,
know.
Mark Hummel produced their CD.
Oh, okay.
This guy is a badass harmonica player
Hmm.
from France. Um, what was his name? I can't remember. But he used my Bassman and this little Champion 600 amp I had. Now, I find in most of those cases I usually end up wanting to hear more of the little amp.
Yeah.
They just kind of went out on harmonica, you know. I've recorded stuff with R.J. Misho where he'll get on a kick, you know. He's like, okay, I want it to sound like, you know, kind of late '60s clean super reverb, you know, the 57 through super reverb kind of sound, you know. And that's a different type of stuff. But what most guys want is usually something they can get out of a little amp. And honestly, most of the times where I recorded with more than one amp, I didn't find it to be worth the trouble.
Ah.
That's my personal opinion. Somebody might have great luck with it, but to me, I mean, I'm if I can get this just a singularly focused sound, that's what I want to hear, and usually that'll come out of a smaller amp.
Got it. And then you've always got the ambient mic to change the sound from
Yeah,
track to track if
to
you
change
wish
the
to.
sound. What I actually have had some luck with, and this is totally sacrilegious, is that I've done some recording with direct having a static mic, go direct into the board and using amp modeling,
Huh.
or as I like to call them, internet amps. and I've done that with Rick. I had one fellow come into actually my studio, a harp player, and he told me, I want the sound from that particular song. I'm not going to say which song it is because then I'm going to leave it a mystery. But there was one song that Rick did where we played. He played harp direct. And we used the amp modeler,
And he loved it, huh?
and he loved it, and it sounded great. And so one time this other dude came in, and he's like, man, can you get me that sound that Rick had on that one song? And I go, sure can, just plug in right here. And I just recalled the preset, and there's the plugin was made by Digidesign, the same people who made Pro Tools. Or I guess they're called Avid now. And it's called 11. And it had a really good, I've tried pods and the Line 6 stuff, and that stuff can be okay for guitar, but this one plugin called 11 is really amazing how much it feels like an amp, and it worked for harmonica, and we used a internet 59 Bassman with it might have been through a virtual 112 cabinet from a virtual Tweed Deluxe. So
So it's just like the
It
real
worked.
world. You're grabbing individual elements and putting it together.
Yeah, except you can do stuff that would result in disaster in the real world. You know, you can run a, you know, you can run a 100-watt amp through a 12-watt speaker.
Yeah.
You know.
Wow, that's a different perspective right there.
Yeah. So that it worked. It required a little bit of tweaking, you know, just to get it just right. But you know, I was, you know, Rick sometimes he'd be like, man, let's just get the computer amp.
That works. Makes
Yeah,
life easy.
if it sounds good, you know, it is good. That's what I think, and you don't get any feedback.
Yeah, that's true.
But you know, I got a house full of amps. You know, I got like every Tweed amp they ever made. Just about, not all of them, but I got to use them for something.